So if that young actor is in a situation where their negativity becomes their reputation, their career is going to shorten itself.
After going straight to director for lots of things, all Broadway directors, big projects, always right in, because I never let them down. I stopped going in for that casting director for years.
You're leading seamlessly into our tools and strategies section. The Working Actor NYC, that's Patrick Richwood.
Benjamin Howes.
This episode of The Working Actor NYC may contain profanity and some adult concepts, so please use your discretion.
Today, we're talking about, so the title of this episode, healthy venting or toxic dumping, how actors can tell the difference. I mean, every actor vents, but when does it stop being healthy release and start dragging you and everyone around you down? And
how do you notice? How do you notice if you're the one doing it?
That's the thing, like finding out where's the line. This is the thing. Where is the line between emotional dumping and actually healthy venting? Because we all do it. Like everybody needs a moment to let off, the pressure valve, to release the pressure valve and let off of some steam.
Yeah.
And so this isn't about judgment. This is about finding tools for a healthy, communication, healthy community.
You just said something that made me realize one of the defining features between the two. One of them, if you're venting, you're doing it in order to make space for better stuff.
That's it. That's the huge key. It's a huge key to it.
I just had a dinner here. I'm in New Hope. What state is it?
Pennsylvania. What state am I in?
What is the play?
I can tell you the state I'm in. Disheveled.
I gotta make an iced coffee right here. Cheers. Cheers. Went to dinner with a colleague and a mutual friend. The colleague bitched for 2 hours with very, very little breath in between, with that very little room in between, and bitched to our mutual friend. So basically, there were 3 others of us. There was me and 2 other people there. So we were all watching a monologue,
right?
A bitch, like a sad sack monologue I'll be generous and say 90 minutes out of the 2 hours we were there.
Wow.
And it was really something, because there was never a moment of like, how's everybody else doing? Or let's talk about something that all of us can, it was not. And I know this very nice person, this very talented, very sweet human being did not know that he was absolutely, completely hijacking the evening downward. And that was it. It was like, I couldn't wait to get out of there.
See, that's the thing. So like that stress release for that person is valuable, but there's a context for it. There's an environment in which that exists. And does that stress release on your part create bonding between you and the audience? Like, does that create bonding? Is it validating for that person?
Between you and the listener?
The listener? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, does it create bonding? Does it validate the person? And I suspect that it doesn't, because there's no input from the other side. Your validation relies on the person that you're with saying, I hear you, I see you. You know what I mean? But if it's a monologue for 90 minutes and there's no input from anybody else, then that's probably a clear sign that you've crossed the line.
It really was interesting, because the guy simply didn't know.
And I mean, let's be real, because I mean, in our world, there's a lot that we need to vent about. Like, there are the stresses of auditions and not booking, the stress of the money roller coaster that we go through, the industry frustrations, the interpersonal relationships that we have to navigate every single time we start a new job. There can be a lot of things that we need to adjust to, and sometimes the adjustment hits so hard that that we can't adjust in a healthy way. And so we've got to figure out a way to let off that steam. And of course, the easiest way is to turn to someone that you know and love.
Or someone in the show that you have come to trust.
Yeah. The slippery slope to dumping, right? So why does it feel different than venting? And you said it right at the top. One takes the energy out of the room, and one like drains the energy from the room, and one sort of releases it. Do you know what I mean?
Releases, yeah, when you're trying to when you're venting, whether you realize it or not, in order to make space for the good stuff,
Yeah.
that's great.
Like venting does, like, as you say, it creates space for fresh air, and the other one fills the air with negativity. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Oh, completely, 'cause like I said, I experienced it last night. It was
yeah,
like, "Oh, isn't this fun? We're in this lovely place. We're all met in this charming little town. Excuse me, I'm just gonna undo this dirty diaper and
right,
smear it all over the tape, if you don't mind, do you? Actually, not even you don't mind. I'm not even
right.
gonna ask. I'm
Well,
gonna
that's
just
the
do it."
thing, is that it rarely, like, you can tell when something's flipped to sort of unhealthy or to emotional dumping because there's no accountability around it. It's like the
Mm.
response of the people around it doesn't seem to have any impact.
No, and the actual venting itself has no accountability either. It's all about, "Well, oh, poor me," or "Look what's happening to me," or "This is my problem." Sometimes it can be, "Ugh, I'm such an idiot. How did I do this?" But it's still me, me, me.
Right.
It's never like it doesn't have any grace. If it sucks all the grace out of the room, there isn't any like,
Talk more about what you mean by grace.
well, there's no consideration for who else is in the scenario. There's no like whether it's the person you're talking to or the person or the people you're talking about or the
Yeah.
situation you're talking about. It has no dimension. It's all one dimensional. It's all like this me, me, me,
Well,
and this bad, bad, bad. You know, and it
that's what I'm
doesn't have any.
thinking. It sounds as though in that scenario, it's not about processing through the whatever that heavy feeling.
No, yeah, no,
It's about just making attention on yourself or
yeah.
attention on the feeling. So it's sort of about attention rather than processing.
Yeah, and it's so insidious because all it does is self-perpetuate. That thing chases its own tail for
Well, that's the
forever.
thing.
It's a
It
vicious
can
circle,
it just
vicious
repeats
circle.
and repeats and repeats. I
Yeah.
mean, like you said, like this bitch session lasts like 90 minutes. The people who are listening, yourself included, you sort of feel powerless in a way because it's like if I try to interrupt this person, it's going to trigger some sort of conflict in a way. Like if I say, you know what, you've had the talking stick for an hour, we hear you, things are hard for you. Is it okay with you if we put it aside for now and
Yeah.
move on? Like you have to behave like a fucking therapist
Yeah,
in
but
order
when
to
you don't know,
stop.
I didn't know this guy. I didn't know
You
his
don't know the
partner. You
person,
know what
the
I mean?
people
It's
well.
like,
It's exactly right. It takes
and my
power away from the
yeah,
people who are listening, you know?
yeah. You kind of go, "Oh, well, this is gonna be one of those nights. I'm just gonna
Sit there
have
and
to
suck it up.
sit here and suck it up." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, but I was on my bike back to the housing thinking,
On
"Never,
your bike.
ever am I gonna have
Put yourself in that
a meal
situation
with
again.
that person again." No.
Well, no, so okay, you're leading seamlessly into our next sort of topic, which is why this matters for actors. And this topic came up because we got a question from one of our listeners, and I'm going to read you, if I may, I'm going to read you the message that I got because
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
I wrote it, but go ahead
You
and read
did
it to me,
not
and I'll
write it.
pretend that I didn't.
I'm in a situation in my current show that I'd love your advice on. I'm currently doing a play in an ensemble of 5. 4 of us are senior actors, and one, the lead, is a recent graduate and much younger. We're all keen and willing to share our knowledge and experience with the young actor, but she's demonstrated time and time again that she's not interested in learning from anyone in the company. She's 22, displays a world-weary attitude in her life and in her work, and puts in the bare minimum, and it shows. Last night, a couple of friends of mine came to see the show, and while they were waiting for me to come out into the lobby, they overheard her talking to her friends that had just come to see the show, and she was running the show down, speaking about it in negative ways. And my friends were surprised as patrons to hear this from her. We, the older 4 actors, have all tried to help her in her journey. Some of us have taught her before, but she's above it all and thinks she knows everything. My question to you is, do I pull her aside and gently but but firmly try to tell her how she's shooting herself in the foot with her attitude and her lack of work ethic? Or do I leave her be, as I'm not entirely sure she would listen anyway? Have you ever been in this situation before? I'd appreciate your view on this if you have time. It's like there's a lot to unpack, and I certainly did get into a detailed explanation. But one of the things that I said to this person, and this is why we appreciate questions from our listeners. Oh,
Yeah, a
maybe this is
great
the
one.
maybe this is the place to insert our, if wherever you are listening to this or watching this, please like,
Ask us stuff.
share,
Yeah.
and subscribe to the channel. Ask us questions either here on the YouTube comments or DM us on our Instagram, the Working Actor NYC, because that'd be super helpful for us. And this is what happens. You ask us a question and it generates this fascinating topic. Anyway,
It's not, and it's also, it's not just because, oh, we can't wait to answer a question. It's because we're interested in the conversation, you and I, and I think that's a conversation that is had all over the world by
yeah,
actors.
yeah.
These are things that we deal with
These are commonalities, absolutely.
in
And
the
that's
tribe.
one of the things that I said to this person was, my fear is that the industry is small and the energy you put out affects your reputation. So if that young actor is in a situation where their negativity becomes their reputation, their career is going to shorten itself, regardless of how talented they are.
Yeah,
I just sort of feel like that if you become known for that sort of negativity and running people down, and the same thing with sort of if your venting crosses the line into toxic dumping, that becomes your reputation. And I mean, you just said you're going to avoid having dinner with that person in the future.
yeah. I know. I have a much closer to the bone example for myself.
Uh-huh.
But I will say that in the case of this person who wrote this question, it sounds like they don't have the listening of that young actor. And so to attempt to impart wisdom is foolish, because without the listening, it's just being, not only is the wisdom being squandered, it's also being creates frustration for the person who really genuinely wants to help. I think the best thing to do is to leave her be. In my opinion, it's the best thing
I,
to do.
I agree. She's
She
already
will,
demonstrated that she's not capable of listening to the advice. As Maya Angelou says, when someone shows you who they are, believe them.
but I do know that there is a generational thing that this question person speaks of, but I think it's more about the listening, don't you? It's like, I don't have their listening.
I yes, and in that specific example, I think that the issues that young person was dealing with extended far beyond the theater. I would bet solid gold disco money that that's something that's happening in their life, as opposed
Yeah.
to something that's happening specifically in that theater just for that play.
Yeah, it bespeak it hints at a dissatisfaction with where they are. Like,
That's exactly what I said. 100% agree.
yeah,
100%. But
yeah.
you just sort of touched on something else. I sort of feel as though healthy venting creates community and toxic dumping just corrodes it and creates fissures and cracks in that community. And when you're trying to put together a company of actors for 6 to 8 weeks, you need all the strength that you can get, otherwise it's going to be a miserable month and a half.
Yeah. Or whatever. Or 3
and,
months or
and
longer.
I think that it doesn't take long for that sort of reputation for negativity, that reputation for toxic dumping bleeds into casting and agent relationships, bleeds in, casting directors aren't dumb. I've had I've had people in behind the table text me and say a name in a yay or nay sort of thing. So it doesn't take long for the industry to catch up on.
No, and now I'm gonna tell you a thing that happened to me, and that's something that I have really, really worked hard on
Yeah.
to sort out. That's why I'm so happy we're talking about this. I did a show, and I did all these workshops and various incarnations and a big lab production of it, and then it was a multi-million-dollar production we went and did. And
was that out of town or was that off
yeah,
Broadway? I can't out of
no, it
town.
was out of town. First, it was in New York for a series of things, and it was very high profile,
Right.
very high profile.
Right.
Everybody that I happened to mention that I was working on it was like, "Oh, you're working on
They
that. Tell me
knew
everything
about
about
it.
it. I can't wait to see it." So it was one of those shows, and
Yeah.
it was absolutely worthy of that. It was such a beautiful show. I went from being sort of this golden boy that could do nothing wrong in their eyes, and they just continued to throw juicy things at me and try them on me and see if they worked. And I went from that to feeling like that, to feeling like by the time we were in our multi-million-dollar production, like they were being idiots because I forgot. This is a theme that we've talked about before. I forgot why I was there. I forgot why I do this and why it was such a joy for me to do. And I got into this much smaller mindset of like, this is my chance to, create a role on Broadway. And this is my this and this is my that and me.
Yeah.
Another version of me.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
just as victim-y and just as negative without realizing it, right? I started venting to the one person who had been in all the workshops and everything with me, who I trusted and who trusted me, unaware that I was actually dumping very toxically without knowing it.
Yeah.
So unaware that I didn't take into consideration that person's relationship to the piece, their insecurities, their concerns, their fears,
Yeah.
right? Their interpersonal relationships with some of the people I was dumping
Venting about. Yeah.
Yeah. Thought I was venting, but was really dumping.
Yeah.
And that person's reaction was equally toxic in a different way. And I got really thrown under the bus in a lot of ways. And it was bad. It was bad in terms, not in the way like management came down on me. Stage management loved me. And because I was doing my job, and everything. And I never heard from the higher ups. But enough creative people were brought into the
drama
via this other person,
right,
which vilified me,
right,
that it took it and magnified it. So now I'm not just a guy that was inordinately dumping on somebody, which is lousy, right? I'm now a monster. So it took it, and Matt, I started another toxic cycle over there with that person,
which
then
was not your intention in telling that person. You didn't intend for them to go and spin it into a whole drama that involved the creatives.
No, at all. But it did, and that continued into our next show together. We did another show together, and it just continued. It was just so toxic. But my point is, those things eventually, if they keep escalating, they're remembered by people. People go, oh, they just believe it. They go, oh, that's what happened. And
the
pretty soon you're
that you were known
characterized.
for. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, it was I was characterized. I know it because I was never called in for that casting director. After going straight to director for lots of things, all Broadway directors, big projects, always right in, because I never let them down. I stopped going in for that casting director for years and years.
You're leading seamlessly into our tools and strategies section. And I feel like one of those is choose your audience wisely. Not every coworker has to be on the receiving end of your, in fact, trusted friends.
Nor should they. Be.
It's probably wisest to keep it outside of the immediate circle of people you're working with. Like
I do. Now it's my sister. It's my sister.
Exactly.
I can vent to you. Like,
yeah.
The other day, I told you things that were going wrong.
We'll never work together again. So it's a safe space between the two.
Thank God.
Thank God. But choose your audience wisely. Like, I think your sister, perfect.
You and I can vent to each other, and we know we've got about whatever I just vented to you the other day about stuff going on that's going right and was going wrong. But I said 2 or 3 times, "Should I stop now?" And you were like, "I'm
Well,
fine."
so that's
So
the other thing. You like check in with your listener, like signal to your listener that I just need 5 minutes and then I'm done. Like
yeah,
let me release
yeah,
the pressure valve and then I'm done. I mean, another thing is time limit venting, which is okay. I'm gonna give myself 3 minutes on the clock for this, and
yeah.
then
But
it's gonna
not
have
with me. You've done it with me, I've done it with you. We're trusting, we trust each other. And also I feel like you and I both have this of to say, "Let me keep a sense of humor about this if I can."
that part as well, and also self awareness. I mean, I wouldn't guarantee that your dinner date last night did not have the self awareness to know that they were centralizing themselves for 90 minutes.
Not only no self-awareness, but obviously a pretty selfish person because
Oh, yeah.
then nobody else was heard. This all comes down to, for me, listening.
Yeah,
Listen, am I listening to the not just the other person? Am I listening to the situation? Like,
reading
have
the
I
room.
read the room?
Yeah, reading the room.
Like these are things they really should teach in kindergarten. How to read the room,
Yeah.
how to find out if you have the listening, how to, how to speak, how to think about how you're going to further the conversation before you open your mouth.
So if you're
Those
reading
are
the
those,
room
those,
and clearly not with a person with whom it is uh not safe to vent to, but is clearly not going to be a supportive environment, go home, open your journal, write that shit out, or open your voice notes on your phone and speak it
yeah,
into, there's your safe place. Like if
yeah,
you need to get those expressions out, there are
yeah,
safe places that don't involve other people.
yeah. Dear diary, today I discovered I have no talent. Or dear diary, today I discovered that I'm better than everyone I've ever met.
Exactly right. That's how it
I'm the
generally
best and the
goes.
prettiest one,
That's
and
generally
everybody else
how
sucks.
it goes for me. My journal's full of that. Every time we end, I open my journal, I go, "Why is Patrick so untalented?" Um, Look at that Punam. And yet
No, so
so handsome, so good looking. I mean,
there you go.
how do we reconcile?
That's the kind of feedback that's constructive.
Well, but you, I shifted to something positive, which maybe can also be a super helpful tool. Is that after you vented, shift to
Mhm.
something positive,
Yeah,
something that you
actually,
are enjoying about a situation.
that's
Like
not a bad idea. It's a great idea.
check in with yourself. Am I seeking support in this situation, or am I just seeking attention?
Yeah. I got in a big fight with my dad once. I took my dad to Paris and we got in a big fight because he would never let me be angry. He would always be like, "Oh, it's okay," and
Oh,
everything.
that's
And I was like, "Dad,
interesting.
how come you never I hate that. Just let me vent. If you just let me vent, then I'll be fine 5 minutes later and you won't have to." And my dad uncharacteristically said, "Well, you never asked me." And I went, "I'm sorry, Francis, what?" He goes, "You never asked my permission if you could vent at me. I don't want you I don't like that. I don't like to see my son suffer." And I was like, "God damn it." He's
Well,
right. He's
he
right.
is right. He is
And
right.
I learned a lot. That was
That's
a really,
interesting.
really great lesson my dad taught me because it's true. You can't also, no matter how much you trust somebody, you gotta say, "Do you have the space for me to?"
Exactly right. Exactly right. Are you in a place where I can let this out and you be the
Yeah.
recipient of this information for the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever?
And you
That's
better be
so true.
prepared for
For the
either
answer
answer
to be no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because if you're not, it's not authentic and you're already fucking the other person up.
So I think that the difference that we're talking about in the difference between healthy venting and toxic dumping or emotional dumping is that venting clears space and dumping fills it up with something crappy. So,
Yeah.
like, I encourage our listeners and viewers to use it as a tool, maybe not as a habit, but as a tool for that moment when the pressure valve is really squeaking.
And I encourage that our listeners to always pick someone outside of the realm of work.
I think that's smart. Yeah.
It
And
is
and
smart
be
because you
careful
just
of
never
getting
know.
be careful of getting sucked into a workplace gossip circle, you know?
Yeah, can I just be with this and let it be and
Yeah,
not step into it? Like, I don't let me stay on the outside of the quicksand in case somebody needs a
that part.
lifeline, and that's a very valuable person to be in any company or tribe,
Uh-huh.
uh, for the sake and I don't mean for the sake of gaining power or points, I mean as a way of contributing to the place that you are and the people that you're there with.
It can build the community that you're a part of.
If I just model what I consider to be good behavior and leave that person alone,
Mm.
I'm doing the best thing, possible for them.
I'd love to know if our listeners have experienced this, when they've crossed the line, how they've done it, how they've retrieved the situation. I would love
If
to
they
hear.
have, and what are your tools for remembering to be self-aware? Like,
Yeah.
that takes practice.
Patrick, you're so goddamn wise. How come you're so wise?
I don't know, I just am. I just was born that way.
Is
I
there
was born wise, like
there's
Yoda.
a magic blue crystal inside you, and it just lives inside you. You don't poop it out. It just
No.
stays there.
It stays there forever.
And look at you right now.